Hey everybody, I'm Jesse Showalter, and in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 things that developers wish that you, the designer, would do when you're working with them. Collaboration between the designer and the developer on any project is super imperative to make sure that the project comes out amazing. And you and me as the designer, we can put in a little extra effort to make sure that that happens. I've been on both sides of this coin. I've been the designer who's been passing off my designs to the developer, and I've been the developer who's been receiving designs. If you don't know, I do front-end development as well. And so I've had experience on both. And so these 5 tips don't come from one side of the house, they come from an understanding of both sides of the house. And really, if you follow these 5 tips, it's gonna make the process so much smoother. Okay, so really quickly, before I talk about the 5 tips, I wanna talk about the golden rule, the number 1 golden rule that actually covers all of these 5 tips and makes all of them actually work. That golden rule is think of others as more important than yourself. In every one of these 5 tips I'm about to give you, if you think of the developer as more important than yourself, if you think of his or her time as more important than your time, then you're really gonna be doing everything you can to make the process smooth. It's gonna help you be effective and efficient in what you do and really be a blessing when you hand all of this stuff off to that developer. Okay, without any further ado, tip number 1, involve the developers from start to finish. One of the worst things that we can do as designers is to have ta-da moments. Ta-da! Moments where we present work that nobody has ever seen. That's not good for clients, that's not good for project managers, that's not good for developers. You present a design to the developer and say, ta-da, you're telling them, I have no consideration for the things that you have to do. I just figured this would be cool. And that's not a good way to work in a collaborative kind of like design and development team. That's not the way to do it. So you want to include them from start to finish. Ask them what constraints the project might have when you first kick off the meeting. But don't just stop there. Throughout the meeting, ask them what they think about this. Hey, what do you think about the solution I was planning? Because they're developers, they're smart, and hopefully they've done dozens and dozens of other projects, whether they be applications or websites, and they might have some really great solutions and ideas. I don't believe in the statement that everybody is a designer, but I do believe in the statement that everybody has creative problem-solving techniques, and you just have to ask them to kind of bring those tools out and play with them a little bit. And so include the developer from the start of the project to the finish of the project. That way, by the time you hand things off to them, they're incredibly aware of what they're getting, they know your heart about the project, and they have some buy-in on everything that they're about to build. Tip number 2, document and annotate your designs excessively. It's just not enough anymore to hand people like a flat design. There you go, that's what the project looks like. You just go ahead and you develop that. There's so many more questions that are gonna happen there. So not only should you be annotating and documenting the fonts that you use and the spacing that you have and the design systems that you've created and the modular systems that exist within your design, you should be designing all of those things, but you should also be designing interactions and animations, and you should be documenting all of those things so that they can look at the design and they can read. Now you can do this in a lot of different ways. Some people use Trello boards, some people use Pivotal Tracker, some people just use notes, some people use different plugins for Sketch like Sketch Measure or InVision or whatever it is, but you have to have something that says more to the developer than just the design. Tip number 3, when possible, create prototypes instead of static designs. Now I know this isn't always possible because of time restraints and other stuff that can happen, but telling somebody what an animation or an interaction should look and feel like is different than them actually seeing it. Take it from me as a developer. When somebody says to me, I kind of wanted this to like animate how? Or like, I kind of wanted this parallax effect right here. Well, there's a lot of different types of parallax effect. What were you looking for, right? So if you can show me via a prototype, I'd be way happier. If you're not using a prototyping tool, it's kind of the new jam for designers. Really, the ones that you're looking for when it comes to like complex interactions like this is gonna be the ones that don't have simple screen-to-screen animations, like something like Adobe Experience Designer or InVision. All those are awesome tools for kind of prototyping what goes where. But you're looking for complex animation and detail, something like Framer or Flinto or Principle even. Number 4, be organized. Sweet mama, be organized. When you deliver things to a developer and they're all sorts of like everywhere, my goodness, that's so hard to work with. Make sure that your assets are like all named a certain way, and make sure they're all placed in a certain directory. Make sure that your file is actually pixel perfect. I'll tell you right now, I know as a designer how easy it is to set some padding and some spacing, to set design systems throughout your design, but then not implement them everywhere because they should get the point from seeing this. Well, that box should be spaced this way because that box was spaced this way. But how do they know if it's their first, second, or third time looking at the project? They need consistency, they need organization, they need all of that structure to be locked in by the time it gets to them, okay? So there should be no questions asked. Everything should be really, really organized. Organize your notes, organize your files, organize your designs, organize your emails, organize everything, organize your life, and they will receive everything so much better and the project will go off so much better. And last tip of the day, tip number 5, is going to be adapt to their processes just a little bit. Again, I think that golden rule here, right? Like, be others-minded. Think of others as more important than yourself. You wouldn't want somebody coming into your workflow and dictating to you what tools to use and how to design and how to make things happen. No, you have your way of doing things, they have their way of doing things. This is where the children need to play nice, and this is where you need to compromise. Maybe they like their files named a certain way. Maybe they like their files delivered a certain way. Maybe they don't like using something like Inspect from InVision, or maybe they don't like meeting on Skype, or maybe they like face-to-face coffee, or whatever it is. Adapt to their processes and their systems a little bit, and take that first step. Show them, hey, I'm willing to compromise, and that will create a bridge between you two. So be willing to adapt a little bit as it's needed. Don't give away your whole process and sacrifice everything. But there's probably some things you can do to make them feel more comfortable with what you're about to hand them. Well, that's it. Those are my top 5 tips for working with a developer, for handing things off to a developer, and for making your projects run smoother than they ever have been. Implement these today, and I promise things will go a bit better. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments and I'll get back to them ASAP. Also, if you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I like to do a lot of videos about design and development and creative related stuff just like this, and so hopefully you'll stick around for the next one. I hope you guys are having an amazing week. I really, really do. I hope you're designing amazing stuff, making amazing stuff, and I hope you guys are working effectively in your teams. I'll talk to you guys next time.